Hey everybody, it's Pam and Bill at Country Living Newbie Custom Decor in Spring Hill, Tennessee. We are a little slow in the store tonight, so we thought we would do a quick live video and do some basic stamping. So if you've been following us at all, not that kind of stamping.
Oh, sorry.
But feel free. If you've been following us at all, you know that we just got in a lot of new DIY decor products. And we're really just kind of learning ourselves how to use them. So we've rearranged our DIY room yet again. Or maybe we're almost where we wanted, I'm not sure. But we just got a whole bunch of Iron Orchid design stamps in. I have about, maybe 10 to 12 more coming. So they're kind of coming in shipments, so not sure when they're all going to be here. But lots more coming. And we've also kind of segregated our stuff. So we have all our transfers now, which lots more of them on the way too. Patience is not one of my...
Which of course is the empty spaces on the pegboard.
Yeah, we're just trying to make all sorts of room. And when you come in, you know, we can open these up. We have one that's open that you could even try. I try to put some examples around of what the transfers look like. Here's what the stamps look like on a piece of wood and on fabric. And then we have our Dixie Belle and our stencil area on the other side. And then we have the new monitor up that just basically loops really cool short DIY videos from Dixie Belle, Iron Orchid, just all sorts of cool videos that will show how to use these products and just give you an idea of what we have. So, with that said, so I've just been using this stuff for a couple days. So when I called this live video Stamping for Newbies, I was not referring to you all, but although some of you might be new to this, I'm definitely referring to myself as well. So if I can do this, y'all can do it too. I did this one yesterday, just real quick, Merry Christmas. I did a raised stencil on it and added some wax to it. So real simple Merry Christmas sign, didn't take long and pretty easy to do. So tonight we're gonna do well, I did the wreath already. Wreaths can be a little tricky, and there's some shortcuts and tricks to making a nice circle wreath. So I'll show you that real quick. But then we're gonna, I don't know, maybe we'll put like Joy or Noel or something in there. With the wreaths.
Hi, Jean.
Hey, Jean. There's a couple different stamps for the wreath. There's the small one, which is what I have on here. And then there's the other builder wreath, this one, which is real large. So each piece of the wreath is just a quarter of the wreath. So you can see, you know, with 4 of those, how big that wreath would be. So for this one, I used this stamp, because you can see in 4 pieces, it fits on this pretty perfectly. There are many ways to put your stamp on and many mediums to put it on with. So we'll talk a little bit about the different ones, and then I'll probably use paint, but you can use ink too. So there's the hard stampers that you can use. They come in different sizes. There's a couple, and then there's the real big one, the 10 by 12. So we carry all of those. With each package of stamps, there is a plastic sheet. So the stamp comes on a sheet, and then on top of it is this plastic sheet. And you can use that to put your stamp on. So you put it on, and then you either take ink and pat it on, and then you use this to put your stamp down. Or you can kind of freestyle it by just putting it in your hand, putting the ink on it, and then putting it down. And once it's down, do not move it because your stamp will look horrible.
Well, don't slide it.
Yeah, so it's gotta go down. You gotta commit as soon as you get it down, and then just kind of start pressing. We're gonna use the stamp pad method today because I find it on a flat surface, it gives you the most control, or I feel it does anyway. So we also have these sheets. So they're just like what comes in the package, but let's say you're doing a big sign and you lay out, which we'll show you in just a minute, how you lay out your stamp. And let's say, it's Merry Christmas. Well, that's not big enough. The sheet isn't big enough. This is almost big enough to get, most of your stamp on there. So you would lay out your stamp, put this on top, and then you would use this to control your stamp. So these are really nice, and they're reusable. So they're a couple bucks. I think they're $3 a piece, and you use them over and over and over.
It's a good thing you're shaking that because it's
You can't
impossible to see.
Yeah, I figured. Okay, so we're gonna use this I think this is called typesetting. Yeah, typesetting stamp from Iron Orchid, and it comes in, this one comes with 2 sheets because there's uppercase and lowercase. Most of these are 1 sheet, but this one happens to be 2. I don't know, what do we want to do? Joy?
Sure. That should fit in that pretty
Joy?
well.
Do all caps?
Yes.
Joy. So before you use your stamps for the first time, you have to condition them, which means you take a piece of fine sandpaper. I think I've been using 220, but it can be even finer. And I already did this, so I'm not going to do it on this one. But you want to scrape your stamp 2 different ways. And that just kind of roughs up the surface a little bit. You don't have to do this every time. You just need to do it once. Because when you first get them, they'll look kind of shiny. And I know it's probably hard to see, but like some of these I haven't conditioned yet. Like I can see the black underneath the stamp really clear. Where these, it's a little more scuffed up, so you can tell which ones you've conditioned. These can be really hard to pull off the sheet the first time. They're not gonna break. You have to put some muscle into it. Like there's a real big one here. Man, you remember when I was pulling it off before, and Bill walks through the room and is like, oh my God, you're gonna rip that in half. Well, no, they're super tough, so don't be afraid, just pull them on off. So it's best if you can to put your stamps with the stamp side down, and so there's a flat surface and there's a raised surface for the stamp. Put them how you want them on your project. Look pretty good? Joy? So we could use this block on there. We could use the invisible shaky thing, or we could use our hands, but we're gonna do this. And these are nice, they have these lines on them, so you can get everything nice and straight. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then you just press down, and now it's on the pad and ready to go. You want to make sure that these are super clean before you put any ink or paint on them. You can use a baby wipe to clean them off. With the chalk paint, I find I have to run to the sink and just get some soapy water, and we sell some scrubby soap that works amazing to get these off because it's just a little bit of a like a scrubby sponge that you use through the dishes, and it kind of gets into those crevices, but it's gentle, and that takes the paint right off.
A scrunch.
A scrunch. Yeah, okay, a scrunch. Okay, so again, there's a couple ways to do this, probably more than a couple. There's ink pads, so if I wanted to do this in black, I could take my ink pad and there's a cover on it, and just pat it down and stamp. But today we're gonna use paint. And there's a couple ways you can do that too. You can use a foam sponge or roller. Now, with this, you can easily get too much paint on here where it gets in the lower part, not the raised part of the stencil, and when you go to put it down, you lose some of that detail. So you have to be a little bit careful with the roller, the foam roller. We also sell these brayers. So they are rubber.
Is that like the rabbit?
Brer Rabbit?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
it's like Brer Rabbit. So they're hard rubber, and the paint, when you put it on, the paint won't leak into all those little spots. But today we're going to use a sponge. And I'm just going to get a little, we're using Dixie Belle paint, of course. And this is cotton, which is their whitest of whites. And then we use Barn Red on the wood. And I didn't talk about the wreath yet, did I? How to do a wreath. Real quick, when you do a wreath, the wreaths are set up in quarters. So you don't want to put one on one side, one on the other, one on the top and one on the bottom. I mean, you can, but if you want to get a perfect circle, you need to think of your piece in quarters and find your center, and then in each corner is your wreath. So you kind of have to think of it that way to get a perfect circle. And it takes some practice. I've done a couple. That's probably the best one I've done, and it's not it's not perfect. That's okay. We don't need perfection. Okay, so we're going to get some paint on. Don't get a lot. Don't be real heavy with it, because again, it's going to get it's going to overload the stamp. So take it, kind of rub it on. If you get some on this hard part, it's no big deal. You can either wipe it off with a baby wipe or not. It's really not going to hit your board. But kind of make sure you get all those spots. Now you don't have a lot of time with chalk paint, where the ink you have a little bit of time. With this, you have to be fairly quick. Okay. And then remember, once you're down, you're down. And then you just press. Ooh. And be careful when you lift it up, because the paint is sticky. And there's Joy. Easy peasy.
And it has that nice antiqued look about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, the stamp is actually, there's like some pits in it. So the paint doesn't lay smooth everywhere, so you kind of get that
Yeah, it
vintage
does that deliberately,
kinda,
yes.
Yeah. So that is basic stamping for newbies. So come on in and see us. We got all sorts of stamps, more on the way. I have all these open here, so you can try one to see if you think it's something you want to purchase. Again, they take a little bit of practice, but they're pretty easy once you've done a few.
Pretty cool.
And before we go, let's just remind everyone, Monday night, we have 2 spots left in our Fall Leaves watercolor class by Michelle, our local artist here in Spring Hill. So we have two spots in that. A week from Monday, we have 3 spots in a Bring Your Own Piece of Furniture class, which is $55. Bring something small that you can, kind of carry about this big, put up on a table, and finish painting in 3 hours. It should not need repair or much prep, so it should be a piece of wood, small wood furniture. And then we just scheduled on our website and our Facebook page our 3rd class, which is on the 19th. It's a Christmas pallet wood sign. You can choose from 2 different designs, $55. Just let us know what design you want when you register. And we hope to see you all there. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them. Thanks, everybody.
And don't forget to come when you come see us. Come see our friends at Spring Hill Antiques, Vintage 615, the bakery down the road. Fantastic.
Faith and Nate,
Faith
Chris
and
and
Nate.
Pearls. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Lots of cool things to see just in this little area in Spring Hill. So it's worth the trip. All right. Take care, guys. Have a nice weekend.